Good morning to all of you. Today we will discuss the continuation of second prescription that we were discussing in our last class. So in our last class we have discussed the definition of second prescription, what are the presupposed condition for second prescription, what is the definition of second prescription, and what are the types of second prescription. After this, today I will discuss in detail what are the different types and in which condition we will use these different types. In short, I will describe these types, then I will go to the details of this chapter of the Kent's second prescription. Here, as we have discussed in our last class, the first and the basic types of our second prescription is divided into two. One is called repetition of the same remedy, another is called change of the remedy. Repetition of the remedy is having again two types, that is repetition of same medicine with same potency, and the second type is repetition of same medicine with increased potency. And the second type is change of medicine, in which we have these following types, that is called complementary, antidote, cognate, and change of plan of treatment. Before we move ahead, I would like to say you that this type of second prescription is a retrospective assessment of the prescription. It is not that you will move ahead with these directions. Rather, you will move ahead according to the philosophy of homeopathy. And afterward, you will name that your movement is of which type. That means if we study this chapter and if we conclude Kent's view, Kent have not first pointed out the type of second prescription and he has moved according to that. Rather, Kent has moved ahead according to the homeopathic philosophy, and then afterward he has classified all his movement, and in which he found that these are the different categories, that is the possible categories that a prescription may be moved ahead. So this typing is not a guiding principles for your movement. Your guiding principle for your movement is always the basic homeopathic philosophy, that is you should be guided by your directions for prescriptions, your symptomatology, and your philosophical guidance. Afterwards, you will categorize all these types, that what are the types, and then you will find that in retrospective study of your prescriptions, of your collection of prescription, that they mostly belongs to these type of categorization. So first deal with the repetition of the same remedy. This condition is, if you have prescribed a medicine, if your medicine has worked, you have left the time to act your first prescription without any interruption. You have not interrupted in any way, either medicinal or any other accessory phenomena in your case, and the first medicine has completed its action. Then in your next visit or in your subsequent visit, what you have studied that your medicine have worked up to a level, the patient has improved, but patient has not completely cured, patient has not free from all the symptom, rather some of the intensity of the symptom diminished, some of the symptom has gone, some of the symptoms are there. But the same set of symptom is there. There is reduction in the number of symptom, but there is no addition of new symptom. There is no change of your symptomatology, rather just the collection of symptomatology has reduced either in intensity or in number. keeping the previous symptomatology in an intact way. In this condition, we have to repeat the same remedy with same potency. Why same potency? Because Kent, in his way of describing, has very much emphasized that once one remedy and the same potency has acted, before going to the next potency, we must at least once again use the same medicine, same potency, so that is there anything else that can be work done, that can be completed by this previous medicine with the previous potency, that must we have to justify. And if your same medicine and same potency once again tried and it has not produced any change, it has not produced any beneficiary action, if it has not give the movement to the symptomatology, now you can understand, now you can assess that your previous medicine with your previous potency, they have done whatever they are capable of doing. And so he advised, at this time you can go and change the potency, or you can say in other words, the same medicine with increased potency. So this is about the first type. Once there is only reduction of symptom, patient is not cured. Second criteria is no addition of symptom, no new symptoms, no change in totality. Then you have to keep the previous medicine going on. After one potency, again verify the same potency. If there is no change, if the case is going to stand still, then just keeping the medicine same, increase the potency and try it again. And then again it will produce some changes. Again, in subsequent case, you have to go on and on in your, as I have told you, these all are the part of centesimal scale of potency, centesimal scale of prescribing. So you have to go according to the scales of second centesimal potency available to you till the highest potency available to you. You can go, provided your symptomatology is considering these two factors, that is no change in your symptomatology, only slight reduction in your previous symptomatology. And the second criteria is no addition of new symptom. So these are the two important criteria that this type of second prescription is you have to continue. Now come to the second point, complementary medicine. When our second prescription is called complementary, if you have prescribed a remedy for a child, for a certain condition, for a person, for a certain condition, your medicine has done at this time whatever he needs to do. But this condition is going on. For example, Kent has given a case of belladonna, that in a case of child, each change of weather, he brought some symptoms of cold and cough, and that symptom demands belladonna. Again, in next change of weather, you have prescribed the belladonna, patient is completely recovered from his all symptomatology, but in again change of weather, he produces the same symptomatology and you have prescribed the same remedy. Few days after or few months after, again with any change of weather or any type, when he has taken the cold, the patient is again complaining you with the same set of symptoms and you have prescribed belladonna and the patient has been cured. So here, in further case, what you have assessed, that each time you are giving relief to your patient from this current symptomatology, but something in the background, something in the base of that case is not changing, and that persistent base is always making the patient sick with this type of symptomatology. That means your current symptomatology, based on what you are prescribing the remedy, is only covering the selective area. That is, it is only covering the acute phase of that. It is not covering the susceptibility level of the patient. In such case, you have to find out a more deep acting medicine. You have to find out a medicine with this symptomatology, and that should act on the miasmatic level of the patient, that should act as a constitutional state of the patient, so that you can not only remove the patient's this current symptomatology, as well as you can break the tendency of that patient for repeated attack of such illness, and for which you have to go on a more deep acting, a more, you can say, complementary to that remedy. If you study Materia Medica, you will find that belladonna has a complementary in calcarea carb, belladonna has complementary in sulfur, or XYZ. So one phase of prescribing complementary is recurrent episodes of acute condition that seems to be you as acute condition, but it has an underlying susceptibility state. In such condition, after subsiding the acute condition, you have to prescribe another remedy for more deeper in action to correct its constitutional weakness, that is called to correct its susceptibility, to correct its miasmatic predispositions, and this prescription is called a complementary one. This is one type of complementary. Another type of complementary is if you have prescribed for a chronic case, not acute, but for a chronic case, a chronic remedy like sulfur. In a case of psoriasis, your sulfur has done a lot, but patient has improved a lot, but patient has not been cured by its psoriasis. Many of the symptoms of this patient has been relieved by sulfur, but psoriasis is still present. But after many months or even years, what you realize that those symptoms based on which I have selected sulfur now is changed. For example, psoriasis is there. Earlier it was on the, you can say, 30% of the parts of the body. Now it is reduced to the 10%. Itching is very less. Seasonal aggravation is very less in intensity. But these are one part of the symptomatology. Another part, earlier patient was very hot. Patient was very dry. Patient has a different type of desire. But after many years, now patient is not hot. Patient feels chilly. Now patient is having profuse sweat. Now patient is a type of letharginess. Now patient doesn't have this morning diarrhea. Now patient is having constipation. He doesn't go for a stool for 2 or 3 or 4 days. So one set of symptom, that is the symptom of disease, is same, but it is reduced in intensity, it reduced in its parameters. But one set of symptom which we are individualizing symptom, that has been changed. And now this change of individualizing symptoms require change of your prescription, change of your remedy. And this change, as we will study in your Materia Medica, that sulfur is always been mostly complemented by calcarea carb, and after that calcarea carb is complemented by lycopodium. So one chronic remedy have finished its work, whatever it can do, provided that symptomatology of the disease is again there, but symptomatology that was indicative of the patient has changed. In this case, you will again change the prescription based on the individualizing symptoms of your patient, and this patient is again prescribed, that this prescription will be called as complementary. So for complementary prescriptions, you have two variety. One is acute to chronic, and one is chronic followed by another chronic remedy. That you have in your Materia Medica so many lists of Materia Medica medicines, that is mostly prescribed in sequence. One of the example is your sulfur, calcarea, and lycopodium. Sulfur, sepia, and sarsaparilla. So many other medicines are there that can be prescribed in sequence. Pulsatilla followed by silesia, and silesia followed by fluoric acid. Volocin followed by staphysageria. Many medicines are there that can be prescribed. Another type is antidote. When you will antidote is one of the point of or one of the part of your this second prescription, that is, you can say, that doesn't follow the exact discipline or definition or principles of second prescription. I will give you it later on. When you will antidote, if you have prescribed a remedy and after that what you are getting, that patient has full of new symptoms, and you have inquired the patient and the patient party, and you have come to the conclusion that this new symptom is not a part of any earlier history of the patient. That means this past में ऐसा कोई symptoms आया नहीं था जिसको हम कह सकें कि reappearance of old symptom. That means it is definitely a new additional symptom that has come to the patient after this prescription. And if this prescription is giving you an increased aggravating condition of the patient, and if it is not declining in itself, then you have to ease your patient. And in such aggravation, in such additional symptoms, when it appears to the patient, you have to give another remedy so that this current aggravation of the patient can be relieved. Again, here one thing you must have to note, that for this, what medicine you will prescribe, whether you will go to your materia medica and select the relationship part, and from there you will choose a medicine that is called antidote to this medicine. No, this is not the direction for selection of antidote. Again, you have to take the case, you have to combine both the symptomatology. That means you have to take the current symptomatology of the patient, and based on this current symptomatology, you have to prescribe a remedy. And that remedy, that prescription will called as antidote. So for antidote, you will not select from the list of remedy random, rather you have to go by the directions that is shown by your current symptomatology. And this current symptomatology will include both new symptom and old symptom together, and then you have to prescribe the remedy that will be called as antidote. Another type, that is the third type, that is called cognate. I think in last class, one of your student asked me that, sir, what will we do when I am having a patient with chronic medicine and in between some acute condition arises. For this condition, Kent has said here, if you are prescribing a patient for a chronic condition, any deep acting polycrest remedy, and in between, if patient comes to you with some acute condition, so here first you have to judge whether this acute condition that patient is now reporting to you is very severe, is very intense, or it is of a milder form. If this is a milder form, you don't need to prescribe any medicine. You can give the placebo and console your patient. If it is a part of your reappearance of symptom, then just wait and watch. There is no need to prescribe anything. But if some genuine acute and severe condition appear, that is neither a part of its reappearance, that is neither a part of its mildness, but something new, something different, some severe acute condition has occurred. In this condition, you have to prescribe for this acute condition, but for this prescription, you have to keep in your mind that your new prescription that is the prescription for your current situation or this acute condition, the remedy you are selecting, that remedy should not antidote your case. And for this, you have to select a remedy keeping in mind the relationship of remedies, keeping in mind the relations of symptomatology of the between two medicine. And then you have to select a remedy that is the acute of this. Many medicines are there. जिस तरह से अभी हम कॉम्प्लीमेंट्री में बेलाडोना के बाद एक उसी का डीपर प्रिस्क्राइब कर रहे थे कैलकेरिया कार्ब. Similarly, things may happen here if you have prescribed a deep acting remedy like calcarea carb, and that in case of acute phase, अगर उस child को acute cold and cough या other symptomatology आ गया है, then you have to prescribe here belladonna. That means these medicines will be called as cognate. Cognate का मतलब होता है having a set of similar background, having a set of similarity in its nature, in its background. So here the background is similarity of symptoms. Kent has given here an example of that if you are prescribed sepia and in the duration of the course of the treatment of sepia, if the patient comes to you with certain type of gastric disturbance, then here you can prescribe nux vomica, and this nux vomica will not hamper, this nux vomica will neither antidote the action of sepia. Other examples of medicine that you can find in your Matemedica, if you have prescribed a patient, suppose Thuja, and that patient has reported to you with certain acute condition, you might get this acute condition, your answer to your patient in case of arsenic alba, because arsenic is considered to be the acute of Thuja. Here again, if you have prescribed sepia to your patient and patient has come to you with some respiratory complaint, you will find its cognate in sabadilla. If you have prescribed a remedy like silesia and patient come to you with some acute complaint, you can find your reply in pulsatilla. So again, for this type of prescription, you have to study your materia medica with the relationship of drugs, and that is available to you. That Boni Hussain has very much emphasized in this study of relationship of medicine. So next type of second prescription is change of plan of treatment. Here in this change of plan of treatment is actually, it is the treatment of number one, chronic disease, number two, mixed miasmatic chronic disease. Here, plan means the miasmatic guidance, the miasmatic guideline. For example, if you have taken a case and your patient is showing in a case of chronic disease, the symptomatology of psoric manifestation, then here you have to go with the plan of as a psoric treatment or anti-psoric treatment. If after few months, this psoric manifestation of your patient is completely resolved and a new set of symptomatology appear, and that symptomatology giving you indication of either syphilitic or psychotic miasm, then now your selection of medicine will move from psoric to syphilitic or psychotic. Kent ने यहाँ पे एक example दिया है कि if you are treating a patient with different type of neuralgia, and after the treatment of this neuralgia with a plan of anti-psoric treatment, suddenly patient has been relieved by all its symptoms of neuralgic condition, but after one patients develop and come to you with ulceration in tongue, intolerance of heat, and ulceration and night pain in different parts. That means now the set of symptomatology has changed, and now patient is demanding for a different miasmatic expression. This different mathematic expression is the need that now you have to think of your previous plan of treatment. That means you have to think of changing your prescription from psoric plan to syphilitic plan. And this is called change of plan of treatment. थोड़ा सा टाइम बचा है, अब आओ टेक्स्ट बुक के बारे में एक छोटा छोटा सा आपको झलक दिखा देते हैं. जो अंडरलाइन किया हुआ है, these parts you can take a picture or you can afterwards collect from it. These are the important points that you can have. As I have discussed you, these lines are very important. That is regarding if, as I have told you in our last class, if the patient is having a better result from the previous good prescriber, then you should advise your patient to continue his previous physician, and you should not change his remedy, neither you should have to interfere his prescription. This is this page that is giving you the direction. Here is again one of the important advice that I have told you. Advise the patient for his benefit. वो क्या advice है? That you should continue the prescription of the previous physician. Because the reason I have told you in last class, because you don't know what are the symptoms based on which the last prescription physician has prescribed. And if he has prescribed a good remedy, then you are not doing the remedy, and so you are not able to either continue his prescription, change the potency, or you have no idea for going to the complementary, and in this case you can harm the patient's good effect of his previous prescription. Here one important thing is that this is one of the danger to be avoided and hurried in second prescription. Here is one of the important philosophical background that Kent has discussed. Whenever you have prescribed for a patient a remedy and patient has relieved slightly, some symptoms are relieved, some symptoms are still there, but there is no new additional symptom. That is one of the philosophical guide for your good prescription. One thing. Another thing, if you have prescribed a remedy and patient is completely removed by all these symptoms, patient is completely better all these symptoms, but after few weeks, after few months, if patient come to you with the same set of symptoms, there is no change. The symptom may be less in intensity, but there is no change. There is no additional symptom. This is again an indicative of good prescription. This type of prescription, this type of follow-up is very important, especially if you are dealing with any type of intermittent disease, where patient is not having a continuation of symptom, where patient is not suffering continually. Here, if you have prescribed, the patient will be relieved somehow its symptoms, but this type of symptom will again reappear after when it is supposed to reappear according to its nature of alternating disease. But when it will appear afterwards, you have to justify that whether this symptomatology is preserved or there is change in symptomatology. इसी के लिए यहाँ पे हनीमन केंट कह रहा है कि ये रिजल्ट आपको तभी मिलेगा if you have prescribed a remedy and then you have full patience in wait and watch. If you are not in hurried to change the remedy, if you are not hurried in increase the remedy, repeat the remedy, then only you can assess these type of observation. यहाँ पे क्या मिलेगा? That reappearance, if this reappearance is having the same symptomatology, it has not changed, but it has decreased in its intensity, it has decreased in its complaint, it has decreased in its severity, this is again indication of your good prescription, your perfect prescription. And in such case, Kent very strongly warn not to change the remedy, and always be full of patience for your repetition or change of remedy. Here, you always wait, and wait long enough. As here he said, he did not wait long enough. This waiting for long enough is very important in such case, because your one wrong movement will spoil your case if you will change the remedy in such condition. And then it may happen that next time you may not be so much lucky for this prescription. So this first 2 page is very important here, and this is regarding the wait and watch and patience. And in these first 3 pages, Kent has advised regarding wait and watch, regarding one philosophy that you can justify your previous prescription, that is, it is the correct prescription, and that you can confidently wait in your case no matter whatever the slight changes that is going on. So these underlined part, you must take note of these. I'm just giving you in slide, you can have a picture of it. Rest all the part I have discussed. Here Kent has given the definition that I have told you in the first class. This is the definition of second prescription as Kent has described in this part. This is regarding change of the remedy. This is the example of complementary, and this is the example of cognate that I have told you just now. I have given you many other remedies also you can include here. And this is the last page of this. Here, this last paragraph is very important that I have told right in here. That is, no prescription can be made for any patient except after a careful and prolonged study of the case, to know what it promises in the symptoms and everything that has existed previously. The important thing is always re-study your case. Even your first prescription, even during your second prescription, you must re-study your case. You must take care of the full symptomatology of case before you move ahead. And this last paragraph is very important, and the first 2 pages is also very important. Must read this chapter. If you have any difficulty, ask me later on. Thank you very much. Anyone want to ask anything? We have 1 more minute here.
Yes, sir. That antidote wala point, sir, ki why will not prescribe according to relation of MM? Then what will be the, sir, criteria to prescribe?